So ever since the Hot Shots update introducing the Summit to the game, as well as many other updates after, the Crew 2 has seen cars come into the game that have gotten rarer and rarer and harder to obtain. So today on the SidWaj channel, join me as I find out going into the game, seeing what is the rarest car in the Crew 2. What's going on? My name is Sid and welcome back to a channel that, as well as finding out what the rarest car in the game is today, we're going to find out, do I own the rarest car in the game? Yes, I did do this video before. It was very long ago that I did this video. In fact, it was even before the chase, and since then, a lot has changed. Not to mention that video was quite wrong. A lot of the stuff in that video was incorrect. Most of it, the big chunks of it, were right. However, there were some things I missed out that I'm going to be addressing today, as well as fully going from scratch to find out what is the rarest car in the game. Of course, we're just going to go into it. This video was brought to you by the sub button, so head down there, subscribe with notifications on. It would be appreciated. Alright, sub now. This is, of course, another unique video of my recent videos, which I've been doing a lot of recently with movie car battles, an Icon 9999 account. We do new cars, guides, all that stuff. So check all of that stuff out. It's on the channel. Just like that, let's get into it. So the little things to bring up first. Yes, some say that money makes the world go round, or I guess in this case, it makes Motor Nation go round. And that money in this game being bucks. Bucks is the money that you earn, the currency that you can spend on vehicles, customization, and those things are likes, as well as recalibrating parts and other stuff like that. And that money adds up to quite a lot, and there's a bunch of cars that you can buy. And one of those is the peak most expensive car. That being the Koenigsegg Jumeirah. Yes, I'm fairly certain. Now, I don't actually know. And there's not really a way I can check because you can't see the prices of cars once you've bought them. But as far as I'm aware, this is the most expensive car in the game currently. Of course, one of the newest hypercars to be added, just added in this update along with the game. It is a hybrid twin turbocharged engine, outputting 1,700 horsepower with a single speed transmission gearbox. It is, to my knowledge, the most expensive car in the game. Now, I might be wrong about that because, again, like I said, I can't check if it's the most expensive. If it's not this, it's the Bugatti La Voiture Noire. It might be that, honestly. I mean, that was a pretty cool backflip. But see, the problem is that money is something in this game that is just, it's just meaningless, really. See, I've got a guide on my channel, best ways to earn bucks in the Crew 2. That's a full guide on like 4 or 5 different ways to earn bucks in the game. And no, that wasn't brought up just to shill the video. It's brought up because those methods can get you, like, honestly, if you knew the right way to do it, you had the icon points, you could get this thing within an hour. It's really not difficult to earn money in this game. So I think just due to that, there's no chance that this is the rarest car in the game anymore. So this thing gets the stamp of not rare. So we've outruled bucks. Bucks being one of the things you earn from events, but you can earn so much of it that it's meaningless. So instead of bucks, what else do you get from events? Well, you get followers. What do followers do? They level you up through the level system in the game, which goes rookie, popular, famous, star, icon, and then icon follows through from icon 1 to icon 9999. And see, the thing about icon is, other than giving you icon points and these parts every now and then, every 10 icons, what icons also do up to icon 1000 is give you rewards. Those rewards being the Camaro Z01, the Wacko Aerobatics plane, the Peugeot DKR Maxi, the Proto Offshore Mark II, and the BMW M Performance M4 Racing. See, the thing about these, however, the ones that I've mentioned leading up to Icon 500 and prior, these are all buyable. So if you don't own these, at any point, if you have the money, you can go and purchase them, making them a lot less rare than any of the others. However, the icons following 600 and above introduce new rewards, being the LaFerrari at icon 600, and these are all exclusive to only when you unlock this icon. These being the LaFerrari, the Acura NSX Drift, the Proto Hop 1 Monster Truck, and the Bugatti Chiron Carbon Edition. Yes, this thing you unlock at icon 1000 after leveling up your way to 1000 1,000 icon levels you unlock the Carbon Chiron, and you only unlock it when you reach this level. This being a hyper-modified Bugatti Chiron, with the Chiron having an 8-liter quad turbocharged engine with 1,500 horsepower, with a custom fully carbon fiber body kit along with a wide body spoiler, splitters and canards, and even custom red pinstripes. This thing is not built for off-road. The Carbon Chiron was added during the Kings of Mayhem update in the Crew 2 to increase the peak rewards you could get from the icon leveling up system. And now, is it the rarest car in the game? Well, no. In fact, it is very far from it. See, when I made this video before, I spent the time scrolling down to the last person who had this, as there's leaderboards on the Crew 2 of every single person who's ever played the game. Their follower count gets put on the leaderboard against everyone else's. So I scrolled down through everyone until I reached the last person to be on Icon 1000, and it took me a very long time, and that video was like 6 months ago, so I am not doing that again. But at the time, here's the clip. The Crew does have 6 million players, and out of those players, 58,000 of them have this car. How do I know? Because I tried filming this video yesterday. And yesterday, I scrolled all the way down to the last player who had the Bugatti Chiron, and that was this guy. See, he is currently the last player to own this car. Even though he might not have claimed it at the time, he is able to claim it for free, because he is Icon 1000. So 58,000 people own this thing, along with the LaFerrari, the Acura NSX, and the Hub 1 monster truck. Yeah, he was 50,000th. There's over 50,000 people that own this thing, and believe it or not, I don't want to sit here scrolling down through 50,000 players. So yeah, seeing as back then 50,000 people owned it, so no matter what, there's going to be way more people owning it now, especially when there's guides up on how to gain followers. Yeah, this gets the stamp of not rare. So it's not the highest to obtain follower vehicle, nor is it the hardest to obtain money vehicle. So let's instead move on to something else. Now, this is something that played a much more predominant role in my last video, however doesn't play that same role in this one for more subjective reasons. See, the reason this played such a part in my last video was because this thing that I'm going to be talking about was fresh. Yes, I'm talking about Hobbies, released with the Inner Drive update. These were 3 subsections of challenges that added a bunch of challenges that would track and level you up within that subsection of challenges, being Racer, Explorer, and Collector, giving you the Plymouth Roadrunner, the Hummer HX Concept, and the Mazda RX-7 10-year anniversary edition. Yes, this thing is, in my opinion, one of the hardest to obtain cars for Hobbies. It would go the Plymouth being absolutely piss easy to get, then the HX Concept being slightly harder, however it's meta, so people do go for it quite a lot and is a bit easier to unlock. And then, in my opinion, the hardest of the 3, the Mazda RX-7 10-year anniversary edition. Yes, produced from 1986 to 1989 with 180 horsepower, this thing has still made its mark as one of the cult classics JDM vehicles, RX-7 being a car used in so much pop culture, car meets, and just car culture in general. This thing is only unlockable via the Racer Hobbies. And see, because of this, Hobbies were just added into the game recently, and that's when I made my video, what's the rarest car in the Crew 2, and that's why this thing was brought up. It was just added, and it was a very difficult thing to achieve, even though I managed to get it within about, I believe it was 2 weeks it took me. But that was 2 weeks of a lot of grinding, yes. The problem is, now that we're 4, 5, like 6 months onwards, it's just not the same as it used to be. I see a lot more of them in PvP, and the thing is, it's just been out so long that people have had so long to grind that even though there's no specific metric that we can look at on how many people own it, from when it was talked about before, there's definitely way more people that own it from before, not putting it in the same echelon as the other cars we're going to talk about later into the video. In fact, one of the detrimental changes made to the game recently that really made this thing not very rare is the weekly challenges system. See, the problem is what weekly challenges used to be was they'd be themed on the week. So whether it was a boat summit, it would be water themed hobbies challenges. If it was an off-road themed summit week, there would be off-road themed challenges. However, at the rollout of the chase update, these became much less difficult to complete, as they are now the exact same challenges every single week. Yes, they stopped caring. What a surprise. These are now always win events, drive around, win skills, find crates, earn parts, earn bucks, and they never change. They will always be there every single week, making it so much easier to get 8 points every week, adding up to, as you can see, I don't do hobbies anymore, yet I'm still about to hit 1k stars on Racer and Collector respectively. Therefore, these are just so much simpler to get. So there you go. So unfortunately, even though this car, depending on how quick you unlock it and just having it, is a very sweaty car, it still requires skill, knowledge, and dedication to unlock. It does get the stamp of not rare, and it is to my dismay. So from now, this is a turning point in this video, because every car we're about to talk about from now on are all limited time cars, meaning these were only and are only able to be obtained for a certain amount of time. And if currently playing the game, most of these cars are not able to be unlocked except for the ones currently active, the rest of which are no longer obtainable at all. So this is where we get into the very exclusive cars, starting off with the update that killed hobbies, contracts, some people's looks on the game, however, undeniably monetized the game in one of the best ways a racing game has ever been monetized: the Motorpass.
It's a brand new way to unlock exclusive rewards every 2 months, providing up to 50 tiers of content per episode. Play the game, complete challenges, and earn rewards.
Yes, the Motorpass is just like what it sounds. It's a Battle Pass, Fortnite, Apex, Rocket League, COD type system that you level up via challenges, unlocking rewards throughout the Motorpass. It costs 80,000 crew credits, which no longer is easy to obtain due to contracts being removed, and you get back 40k crew credits if you bought the Motorpass. However, if you don't spend any crew credits on the Motorpass, you still get 20 for completing it. And the Motorpass brings along a bunch of vanity items and all of these kinds of things, and 4 cars per Motorpass. A Motorpass lasts 2 months and is an episode 1 and an episode 2, each having a Motorpass to themselves, collectively being one season with one theme. Those themes so far being the chase and the hunt and the game and the agency. And once a Motorpass is cycled out of the game, those vehicles in that Motorpass are no longer able to be obtained no matter what. Now another thing is that the tier 49, the maximum car reward, is also free. So if you also don't buy the Battle Pass, you can get that one regardless. However, you can also speed up the process by buying the Battle Pass. Sorry, Motorpass. And there's not really one specific vehicle to talk about, so I will just rattle off the names one by one. Currently, as of making this video, the Motorpass exclusive vehicles are, for the chase update, all being interception units, these are the Mustang Shelby GT500, the Corvette C8, BMW M8, and Bugatti Chiron. For the Hunt Motorpass, it is the Ram Enforcer unit, the Camaro Z28 Enforcer unit, the Mitsubishi 3000 GT Interception unit, and the KS Masked Leader Hypercar. And then for the agency, we got the Jaguar Type F Professional Edition, the KTM Nighthawk, the Jaguar E-Type Series 1 Convertible, and the Bentley Mulliner Bacala. And finally, the current active Motorpass, the game, we've got the Corvette Grand Sport Armored Edition, the Shelby GT500 America Edition, the Combi High School Edition Monster Truck, and the Chenko Ice Hunter Rallycross. Yes, for lack of a better one to switch to, I'll just go to the tier 50 for this current Motorpass. See, these are the start of the exclusive cars. Now, it'll be interesting to see how many we see perhaps in a year or so. That is a river. If you spot them in PvP or driving around, now you wouldn't see this thing because this thing is absolute garbage in PvP. But you may see the Bentley Mulliner Bacala, the Bugatti Chiron interception unit, and finally, the KS Master Leader. Yes, these are the 4 current tier 59s. However, there is a bunch of Motorpass cars. You can see there is actually a Motorpass playlist on my channel with every single Motorpass vehicle except for the Jaguar convertible, because that I unlocked during my charity stream. See, this is one of them with an active damage model, which is an interesting thing. That is very cool of them to do. I would give you stats on each and every one of those Motorpass cars, but we'd be here absolutely all day and my fingers would fall off from tiredness after typing on Wikipedia that long. But see, the simple fact of the matter is, even though these are exclusive cars, these are no longer able to be obtained. So yes, eventually they'll have a certain sense of scarcity to them. They aren't very rare when it comes to people owning them, and I can tell you why. Now, I was thinking, what do I use as an example to show this? Which one of these would be the rarest and least wanted / halved one of all of these? And I thought, why not go with the current Motorpass, one of the lowest for player concurrence Motorpass, tier 33, so you would have to bought the Motorpass. It's not the free car. You would have had to have bought it and played it enough to level up to tier 33. And see, if I go here, go to top 100, you can see that 700 people have downloaded just this top livery. On top of that, another 360 with the second one. Another 300, another 200, another 200, another 200, and it goes on infinitely for liveries being downloaded. See, that's quite a lot of people overall. And this is arguably one of the worst ones to get. In fact, I'll give another example, the Mitsubishi 3000 GT interception unit. If I go here, this was the episode 2 of the first season, The Hunt. And as you can see, the numbers are even worse. 1,000. Why are these in the wrong order? But you can see 1,500, 900, 700. These Motorpass cars are highly unrare, as so many people own them. So the Motorpass as a whole, the entire thing, gets the stamp of not rare. So now, don't worry, as we are finally on the home stretch. Yes, now there is no more needless waffling on cars that don't contend. These cars that I'm going to be talking about now are the ones that only contend. See, so the next thing we're talking about is the Summit. Summit was added with the Hot Shots update in the first year of the Crew 2, and the Summit brought a game mode in the Crew where you play 9 events, those being 3 skills, 4 normal events, and 1 crossover event where you use a different spec to the one allocated for that event. These are always themed to the current week on the Crew 2. Everything from the birthday of the Crew to Rabbids. And see, vanities in the Summit, those are able to come back in the shop in the game. However, every single month in the Crew 2, there is an exclusive vehicle added to the Summit, that being a modified version of a vehicle already in the game, or a vehicle that is in a certain spec brought out into a different spec. As the Summit's now been going for many years, we've had quite a few Summit cars, those being, referring to them in just their edition codename, because it sounds a lot cooler, the Agent, the Red Duchess, the Red Panther, the Pioneer, the Gold Edition, the Thunderwave, the Black Knight, the Red Fury, the Freedom Edition, the Winter Agent, the Wasp, the Peppermint, the Emerald, the Frame Killer, the Deep Blue, the Edition 1, the Long Range Edition, the F12 TDF, the GT Interception Unit, the Hurricane Peppermente, the Green Flash, the Ghost Recon Edition, the HX Concept Enforcer Unit, the DMC DeLorean in Monster Truck, and finally the Rift Edition, the Power Track Edition, and the Rubicon Edition. See, the way the rewards work in the Crew 2 is for silver, gold, and platinum, you need to be top 15,000, top 8,000, and top 3,000 respectively. And the way to do this is by getting high scores in all of these events to get a high cumulative score that adds up overall. See, so a guaranteed 3,000 people own all of these summit cars, right? Wrong. Well, mostly right. But there was 5 summits that have returned to the game. Yes, they've been reran, so people had 2 chances to get these vehicles. Those being the Rising Sun, Untamed Italians, Flying Germans, So French, the Rising Sun Strikes Back brackets again, and the Brits. So there were 6, actually. Those being the Red Fury Edition, the Peppermente, the Wasp, the Dark Knight, Black Knight, whichever one it was, the Thunderwave, and the one I'm looking at, the Magma Edition, as well as the Peppermint. I feel like my counting has gone wrong somewhere, but I have no idea where. One of those, being the Peppermente, has come back twice, meaning it is ran 3 times overall. So we can't get a basis on those cars, how many people own them, because people who already owned them were able to replay that summit. They wouldn't get the car again, but they'd have the car already, so that would stop one other person from being able to get it. So a handful of new people would have gotten the car, and some old people would have stopped someone from getting it. So those cars would be anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 people owning them. However, it wouldn't be anywhere near exactly 6,000 or anywhere near exactly 3,000, somewhere in the middle. For the Peppermente being a much wider range, being 3,000 being even more impossible, and 9,000 being even more impossible. But yes, those are less rare than any of the other summit cars. So we know that all the other summit cars are owned by the exact same number of people, 3,000. So another quantifying factor in rarity in most games, and just general rarity deducing, is the factor of age. Yes. So instead of just being any old summit car, we can look at what is the oldest summit car to have only released once. For this one, I'm going to be on the Crew Wiki. Yes, this is something that I've been using a lot throughout this video just to know general factors of the cars in the game. And see, as you can see, I'm on the page for the live summit that tells us every single summit that has been in the game and when it has ran from till. And if we scroll down here, we can start to see the summits that have ran multiple times with 2 given dates. As you can see, if I put this in as a search term, you can see that it was the Rising Sun Strike, all the ones that I mentioned basically, with the Peppermente being twice. So if we then get rid of that, we can see that this ran twice, there. These were all of the first 5 summits. And then as we go on, we see American Muscle, California Dream, all in one, and then in this entire chunk of summits, there is a couple of summit cars. Those being Japanese Drive, the Red Panther Edition, Open Days, the Carrera Green Flash Edition. Then the second rarest, the runner-up for rarest summit car, is the Ghost Recon. Now, in my last video, what's the rarest car in the Crew 2, I mistakenly said this was the rarest summit car. This was a complete blunder on my end. I just was not paying attention while researching and had a bias because I quite liked this thing. And I saw it as highly underrated, as it was a collab with an entirely different Ubisoft IP, which isn't a common thing in the Crew. We've only recently seen the Rabbids collab, which is the only thing after since this, having ran in 2019 December, never seen. Therefore, the rarest summit car ever, given all the factors, the oldest one to never have released twice, is the Ferrari F12 TDF. Yes, this is one of I've heard from a friend of mine that it is one of the worst summit cars when it comes to being a summit car, as you really wouldn't notice it. It's got a similar presence as the Ferrari Superfast, which is also in hypercar. However, it follows the format that the Peppermente follows, being a different version, F12, instead of being the Berlinetta, which used to be the most expensive car in street at the time. It was the TDF version, just like the Hurricane is the Peppermente version, but in hypercar. With a 6.3-litre V12 engine, 770 horsepower, and a 0 to 60 of 2.9 seconds, this is the Ferrari F12 TDF. Not only the rarest summit car, the rarest hypercar by far, it is the hardest to notice summit car, rare car, because of the things I already said. It's just a weird one. It's a weird one to be the rarest. And it did kind of deflate my bubble when I was like, you know, it's a shame that this is rarer than the Ghost Recon, because the Ghost Recon would have been a lot cooler to be a lot rarer, but what can you do? What can you do? Of course, owned by only 3,000 people, not likely to come back, as the Crew 2 have recently, with their Motorpass system, implemented a system where every summit is sort of, you know, already predetermined and vaguely around what's going on in the crew at the time given the Motorpass. And the 2 months always have 2 summit cars, so it's very unlikely that we'll see another set of reruns like we have before, bringing back a certain set of summit cars. Of course, with me personally, the only 3 vehicles in this game being missing from my inventory being 3 summit cars, it is upsetting. However, that means that these cars are now set in stone rare, and there's less fear of having a sweaty car that is just going to be way less sweaty as soon as Ivory Tower decide, yes, it's coming back. Especially to the poor fellas that were already hurt by the Peppermente being less sweaty when it got brought back twice, and then it gets brought back a 3rd time. Especially for the poor fellas who like the Peppermente, were upset that it had already been brought out twice, and then it was brought out a 3rd time, which in fact surprised me. It even surprised me. But this is one that I can't put a stamp on now. This one is just gonna have to stay here as a contender. So, what else contests? Well, one of the biggest things that I unwillingly omitted in my last video was cars that were released accidentally. What happened here was there was a bundle for a car that had been accidentally added into the game for only crew credits. You could only purchase this with the microtransaction currency in the game, which in all fairness at the time was able to be obtained through gameplay to a reasonable level. This was quickly brought to the attention of the devs, and they issued during the maintenance, it will be removed. That meaning there was only a 5-hour window to purchase this car. And if you purchased it, you also had your crew credits refunded to you. So you got this car completely free. Now see, this is the thing that happens a lot actually. It seems every single update, and I mean every single update, a certain amount of players manage to get cars way too early. See, I don't know who it is. There might be someone at Ivory Tower, one of the developers, who's going behind everyone's backs and pushing buttons on updates that shouldn't be pushed, releasing cars to then just quickly unrelease them as they're out weeks before they're meant to be. Because there's always people who get these cars, up to the Jamira that was released recently that I spotted in PvP. I wouldn't be able to find the clip, but if I do, I'll show it. But this has been going on for so long. If you come on time during the update, catch it before the maintenance, are lucky enough, you can catch a car that's been accidentally released. And it seems this thing is quite old, as this happened back in 2020 when this bundle that I'm talking about right now was added and people got it. That was the Shelby GT500 Road Force 1 edition. This being an Independence Day exclusive that they didn't actually end up releasing that year. I assume because of this blunder, it couldn't have looked good for the crew in the eyes of Ford. And see, when this released as crew credits only, it wasn't actually intended to be. It was intended to be a more, you know, promotional show thing for Independence Day. And it quickly became but a myth in the crew 2, as well as just something that was heard about. You'd only seen it in a couple videos. The Shelby GT500 Road Force 1 edition, the rarest car in the crew, yes, with only a 5-hour window to get it. See, if I had made this video perhaps maybe a couple days earlier, I would have been daft, because this thing came out this week, and I mean officially came out with Wednesday along with the Independence Day Summit. It was released as just purchasable. It was maybe like 600k bucks to purchase, which I assume is what it was originally intended to be. Of course, this being a modified Mustang Shelby GT500 with a supercharged V8 with 760 horsepower, with a custom wide body, a built-in molded wide body kit, along with a spoiler, blower, splitters, fenders, exhaust, everything being very highly modified. And of course, the exclusive Road Force 1 paint job. And well, because of its re-releasing this week, this is not the rarest car. However, it brings me... Also, that was kind of cool back there, just saying. But yes, like I said, it got released this week, so it is not rare, and there in fact gets the stamp of not rare. Yes, it was re-released this week, but there is one final car, as this thing was mistakenly added for crew credits only. There was a car that was added willingly as crew credits only. It was a bundle out for a 2-week period. Yes, 2 weeks. However, it remains the only car currently in the game that is only obtainable via crew credit bundles. So not the Motorpass, just on its own bundle that costs 125,000 crew credits for season pass owners. This car spawned outrage when it was added, as it was a money only car, and from then no other bundle nor exclusive vehicle of its kind has ever been money only. The others being the High Octane Edition, the Burning Wheels Edition, the Ghost Hunt Edition. Those were all then also buyable. However, this was the first one, therefore non-changed. And this was the Mitsubishi Eclipse Star Edition. Yes, this thing is one of the biggest contenders for the rarest car in the game. It's a car that is often not seen at all because it's also trash. It got nerfed into the ground. See, the wide body on this thing, the whole wide body meta in the crew, wide bodies make the cars turn a whole lot better. Therefore, this thing was given a nerf to its acceleration, top speed, like all of that stuff. It just got a whole round speed nerf for its trade-off with the wide body, which makes it just a highly unusable car when it comes to PvP, making it even more unseen. All of the vanities coming with it, the tires, the smoke, the underglow also coming in the bundle. Of course, being a modified in a bad way, I guess, because it's been nerfed into the ground, a 2-liter neutrally aspirated engine, whatever that means, with up to 210 horsepower. This is another, like, just JDM classic car again, finding its way into pop culture and car meets, all of those kind of car culture things. See, so here's the thing, and for this, I'm gonna go into the home. See, here we are in the home with the Mitsubishi Eclipse Star Edition, as well as the F12 TDF hypercar summit car. And now it's really subjective from here, because what we have to think and decide is the F12 TDF, do more people own that over the Mitsubishi Eclipse Star Edition? So the F12 TDF is owned by 3,000 people on each platform. Of course, this being released while the Crew 2 was not available on Stadia, therefore meaning 9,000 people overall on the Crew 2 own the Ferrari F12 TDF. And well, the question is, do 9,000 people own the Mitsubishi Eclipse Star Edition? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at this first. So here back on the Crew Wiki, we can see that on October 20. So here back on the Crew 2, on the 25th to the 2nd of October. So we know that 9,000 people own the Ferrari F12 TDF from the 25th to the 2nd September, October. And then here, the Mitsubishi Eclipse Star Edition, we know ran from May 20th to June 4th. Well, if we head over here to the Steam charts for the Crew 2, this will just show the amount for PC. However, it will give us a good gauge on overall. Of course, we know that Xbox will be less than PC and PlayStation will be much higher. However, both will follow the same ratio. So as one is higher, the other will be higher. So if we input May 20th of 2020, there we go, and then also input the 4th of June 2020, then there we can see that the Crew 2 was sitting at about 4,500 players at this flat rate on the game, meaning that 4,000 players were playing the game at one time during this entire time. If we extend it a bit, we can see it slopes up and then goes down again. However, we were at the up of a small slope and just before a slope. If we go back to June 4th roundabout, there we go, close enough, and May 20th, 4,500 players. This is of course tracked for June, and we know that even if that number, and we 100% know that there's going to be much less than that on Xbox, perhaps even 1,000, I would go as far as to say. And then on PlayStation, there would be perhaps maybe double at that point. Double, maybe something like that, meaning there would have been maybe roughly 15,000 people playing the Crew 2 at that time. Again, these are just rough estimates. I may be wrong. And as far as I'm aware, there's no actual clear way of seeing how many people own a car. So if we look at this, the Crew 2, 15,000 people, even if we put it at maximum 20,000 people, and that's 20,000 people playing the Crew 2 that was way past its peak at the time. It was in a very mediocre period. Yes, it's one of the most consistent times of the Crew 2 for players, and contracts existed, so more people were playing contracts and getting crew credits for it. However, to assume that almost half of everyone playing the game, and of course these 4,500 people would have been different people as sometimes, it wouldn't have just been the same people coming online. Can you assume that overall it wouldn't be all of those 4,000 people switching out? So if we really got a gauge on that whole period, well, that's kind of where I have to leave it. It's an interesting debate. I personally would say that the Mitsubishi Eclipse Star Edition is the rarest car in the game. However, I don't have a basis on that as well when comparing it to the rarest Summit car in the game, the F12 TDF. It's an uncertain thing to say. I don't personally believe that 9,000 people would have had 120,000 crew credits to spend on the Star Edition, keeping in mind that it would have been like 70,000 if you didn't have the season pass. So did that many people buy the Eclipse Star Edition? Perhaps on Xbox it may be rarer than the TDF, and perhaps on PlayStation the TDF is rarer, as the majority of players are on PlayStation, therefore more likelihood of purchasing the vehicle. Do I think the Eclipse will ever come back? No, because it's crew credit only. Therefore, some people own it and paid crew credits for it, and they wouldn't get refunded their crew credits, therefore they would be outraged. And if it came back and was crew credits only, everyone else would be outraged because it was still crew credits only. Therefore, they know if they bring it back, it's a lose-lose. Therefore, I don't see the Star Edition coming back. Do I see the TDF coming back? I think there's a more likelihood that that will happen, yes, even though I feel that they've ditched bringing back Summits into the game, they've ditched doing reruns. There's still a chance that a Summit is rerun, especially later into the game when, say, the Crew 3's out and they're not really caring about the Crew 2, and making a new Summit for the Crew 2 is not a priority anymore. And they're just rerunning every Summit ever made. Yet at that point, would they re-release this? Well, it's up to you. While I'm here as well, just to give another an angle of it, you can see that the top downloaded livery is only downloaded by 200 people. 200, 200, 200, 160, and then drops off as it goes. And we're talking about 3,000. 3,000 people. If I scroll for even a second, there, 17 downloads. These downloads could would barely equate to perhaps even 1,000. However, when it comes with a stock livery like this, is that a biased judgment to make? Well, again, it's up to you. Often people do switch out other cars. I've never seen an Eclipse Star Edition in game other than my own. I've seen F12 TDFs in the game. And, well, now that I've given you all the information, yes, that was the rarest car in the Crew 2. Yes, it was a long one. It was an informative one. It's a bit of a waffling one, but that's how to get the information out. That is about it from me. I hope you guys did enjoy this video because I enjoyed making it. Thank you to popular members. Thank you to famous members. Thank you to all of them. 1 step above popular and then 2 steps above. Thank you to icon members, For the Love of Life, and SidWaj is Daddy. And I'm on delay. I normally do it so that it's members by the time I'm recording, not by the time I'm editing or uploading or anything like that, which is today, by the way. I'm on delay. He's an icon member as well. But he wouldn't let me hear the end of it if I didn't say his name here, but Jesus. Yeah, thank you to them. Honestly, it's all of their support that makes these videos possible, but that is about it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. In a bit.
My heart spills, so I'm cleaning up a mess, yeah. Gotta go to church, feel the demons at my neck, yeah. When I'm on a pill, I be feeling like I'm blessed, it's a curse. When I'm on the drugs, I'm the worst, shawty. Tell me how it feels, tell me does it hurt. Tell me if it's wrong when I'm lifting up your shirt, shawty. Tell me if it's real, or would you leave me in the dirt?